Cool.
So we're back, I guess.
Welcome to we talk about Star Wars some more.
Today on We Talk About Star Wars Some More, we're all gonna pitch our terrible ideas for Star Wars Episode 9
Yeah.
that we think are actually going to happen, probably.
Oh, mine is not that. Mine is what I think I would like to see.
Mine
Even
is
though it's terrible.
okay.
It's still-
Even though
I would enjoy.
mine is somewhere between this is what I want to see and like this is terrible and I could totally see it happening. It's very much this is terrible and I could totally see it happening.
Also, mine's not really like an entire movie. Mine's just a bunch of random ideas that are dumb.
That's fine.
That's fine, we
That's
don't-
plenty.
But some of them could actually happen.
So we're gonna wait till episode 9 comes out. We'll
Yeah.
see, and
Yeah,
we'll look
we'll
back
see
on this video and we'll see.
Which one was the closest?
Yeah, and then the final.
It's probably none of us. But anyways.
Oh well. Okay.
So I guess I'm gonna start.
You
Is that
start,
correct?
yeah.
Okay. So Danny's script, go. Mine's called Star Wars Episode 9.
It's original title.
Yeah.
I think that might be at the beginning of the film. I think we're gonna get the title card Star Wars Episode 9. You're onto something here.
Yeah. So yeah, all that happens in the crawl basically is we established that Leia passed away because I didn't know what to do with her, and Carrie Fisher's gone, so she's gone. Poe's more or less in charge of the Resistance, and the crew of the Falcon, they're heading to Ilum. And if you know from Clone Wars 2003, that's the ice planet with all the caves.
Oh,
It
okay.
has all the
Okay.
it has all the kyber crystals in it, and so that's where the lightsabers are from.
I did a version of that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But it's worse.
Okay, yeah.
Yours is a good idea.
So they go into Ilum because Rey needs to build herself a lightsaber, basically. And so she goes into, there's like a temple-ish area in the caves,
Yeah.
and she's using the Jedi texts, the books from that she has still from 8, and she's using the knowledge from those and to craft herself her own lightsaber.
Yeah.
She considers using, because she also has the broken parts of Luke's lightsaber still, so she has those with her. She thinks about using those, but she's like, nah, I'm my own person now. I'm gonna make my own lightsaber.
Let the past die.
And she builds like a double-ended green lightsaber, because I think that would be cool.
That's in my movie. I'm sorry, but that's a plot twist, though. I'm sorry.
Okay, well that's.
I'm sorry. You
in
keep
the first
you
5
keep
minutes
going.
of mine.
I'll stop talking.
So while she's doing this guy comes out from the shadows of the cave, and it looks like one of the Praetorian guards.
Oh.
But he's all in black instead of red, because black is edgier. and he goes up to Rey and he explains that he's one of the Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
And that the other Praetorian guards were the rest of the Knights of Ren, and so he's now the last one, other than Kylo. And he's like, yeah, Kylo sent me here in case any Jedi ever showed up trying to make a lightsaber, and I'm here to kill you. and I heard about you because Kylo told me that you killed all our friends. And then she's like, you're wrong about Kylo. We killed all your friends together. And he's like, that's not true. And then they have a fight, and he's probably got like some kind of cool double-ended red lightsaber. Maybe it's got like 3 ends or something. I don't know what. I'm trying to think of a weapon.
Does he have a laser glaive or something?
Yeah, he's got. It's like a laser glaive. You know those ones at the store they sell where it's like you can attach like 500 ends, like 500 blades onto it.
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's on like a chain, and he just like swings it around. And they have a cool fight, and then she beats him and she kills him, but like in his dying breath he's like, it's too late for you. I already told the Kylo Ren that you're here and he's coming. They're coming for you. And then she's like, oh shit! So she runs out of the cave, and right then the Empire shows up. There's a bunch of stormtroopers attacking our few band of rebels, and all that happens there. Where are we? All that happens there is Rose gets killed. She just dies right away. And that's all we see of her. She's just like, oh no! And, she's just dead. And that's it.
So yours is like, how do I save this franchise?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it gets way dumber from here. This is the best part. Is the opening. It's the only cool ideas that I have.
All right.
The rest is just stupid.
Okay.
So then they're escaping on the Falcon. There's a little bit of a space battle, and the Falcon's hyperdrive gets damaged, so they can't escape to light speed. And they're like, okay, well, we have to land somewhere. We have to land wherever the nearby planet is. And the only nearby planet is Tatooine, because we haven't gone to Tatooine yet. And
Okay,
you have to
JJ.
you have to go to Tatooine, and it's also like poetry. It rhymes, so that's there.
Hunter's making notes.
I'm changing something that I did. Into something dumber.
Great, I love it.
Had it before.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so Kylo Ren's still chasing them, and he's on. Oh yeah, before he leaves the planet, before he leaves Ilum though, he goes into the cave. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's one cool part where right when they're escaping, him and Rey have a look.
Yeah.
And like she just like boards onto the Falcon just at the last second. He's just kind of looking up at her, and it's like the moment in every episode of Avatar when Zuko is looking at Aang and they fly away on Appa. It's like that moment, but with the Falcon. And it's cool.
You're gonna have the music thing.
Yeah, and it has the same music from Avatar. We just steal it. And then so then after
What's the
that,
music? It's like. Yeah, that's that. Yeah. It plays the Fire Nation.
the Fire Nation theme when they show
Yeah,
up. Yeah. So then I forgot he goes into the cave and he's like he notices his last Knight of Ren is dead, and he's like, oh, that's too bad. And he sees all the Jedi texts because she left them there accidentally, and there's Luke's broken lightsaber. He picks it up for a second, then he just like tosses it. He's like, all right. Okay, troops, gather up the rest of the kyber crystals and burn this place to the ground. We need the kyber crystals for the weapon, and then just destroy everything else. And yeah, so that'll come back later. Also, yeah, the Jedi texts are now destroyed, and so is the last place where kyber crystals exist.
Yeah.
And Luke's lightsaber is now dead. It's gone. It's gone forever now. So that's all gone. Okay, so then Millennium Falcon's trying to escape. They have to land on Tatooine. While that's happening, Kylo Ren is in his ship, whatever his ship is.
Is it like his
Yeah.
like light fighter?
No, I guess he's in a Star Destroyer at this
Yeah.
point. So he's in the Star Destroyer, he's in his chambers, and he does the thing where he's like, he goes to his Vader skull, and he's like, Vader, I was thinking that the past should die, but, maybe you're right. Maybe I should be like Vader, because you're a badass, and we're going to kill all the Jedi. I'm going to kill them all, and stuff. I'm going to finish what you started. He does, like, that thing again. And then...
So it's just a retread for
yeah, no,
episode
but then Anakin's Force Ghost shows up,
Yeah.
and it's Hayden Christensen.
Yes!
But he has, like, the haircut of the guy who played him in Episode 6.
Okay.
And they give him, like, some makeup so he looks a little older. And it's like a bridging of the gaps, sort of. It's also a terrible idea, I know. but I wanted to see this. And basically, they have a conversation where he's
Is
like...
Hayden Christensen wearing prosthetics to make him look older?
Yeah, he makes him look like Sebastian Stan. I think that's the guy.
That's Bucky.
Okay, it's a different Sebastian. It's
All
Sebastian
right.
something. I'll look it up. I can't remember. Anyway, so they have a conversation where it's like, Anakin's like, like, I turned to the good side, right? Like, that. You keep pretending to be like Vader
Edgy
and
and
like
cool.
this. Oh, you're like my biggest fanboy or whatever. But like I turned good, right? And he's like, there's so much conflict. I think that's all I had in that scene. Yep. So now they're landing on Tatooine. They're like, okay, maybe we can hide here for a bit. Falcon's there. And then right before they're about to land, Kylo Ren is already on the ground, and he stops the ship Magneto style from X-Men 2 when he gets he does that, and he tricked you. We're already here. We already captured all of you. We're gonna get you.
Wait, I'm sorry. Is this
Yeah.
movie basically like War for the Planet of the Apes?
No, it's way dumber. We haven't even got to the dumb stuff yet. Don't worry, it's coming. So this is where it gets good. So Kylo Ren.
You said the best stuff has already happened though.
Oh, I mean the good stuff. The dumb stuff is where it gets good. So Kylo Ren's like, all right, we're gonna finish this. We're gonna kill you all. We're gonna finish this how we started it, how it all began. It's gonna, like my good friend Darth Vader said, we gotta end this where it started, with a pod race. And he's gonna force them to pod race. And if he wins, they all die. And if they win, he turns good. And that's what he's leaving up to. That's what he's leaving his conflictedness up to, whether or not he wins in a pod race. So
This is on Tatooine,
yeah,
right?
on Tatooine.
Oh boy.
And so
good.
General Hux is there
That's
also.
amazing. There's nothing that stupid in mind.
Yeah.
It's,
Is Hux like the announcer?
No, Hux is like
is he a racer?
he's still like the role he was in before, and he's like, okay, Kylo Ren, we already have them all captured. Why don't we just fucking kill them? And he's like, no, I'm the Supreme Leader. You have to listen to what I say.
We're doing a pod
We're doing a
race.
pod race, like Vader said. It's gonna be. This is pod racing.
I don't think that's what Vader said. I mean,
We're gonna do a pod race, and Hux is like, wait, you still think you're the Supreme Leader? Like the Supreme Leader still lives, right? And Vader and Kylo's like, yeah, okay, whatever, bud. You long live your Supreme Leader. You just fuck off. I don't want to listen to you right now. And Fox is like, okay, what? This guy's acting like an idiot. I'm gonna go. So he leaves for a while, and he comes back later. You'll see. So the pod race happens, and Kylo Ren.
is this that climax?
No. This is the second.
This is that second act.
Yeah.
All right.
So the
All right.
pod race happens, and Kylo Ren's in Anakin's old pod racer from Phantom Menace. He finds it somehow, and he flies in it, and so the rebellion are like, who's gonna race our pod race? We need someone to race it. And Poe's like, I'll do it. and Rey's like, what? But no human is even able to pod race that doesn't have the Force. And he's like, I can fly anything. And so he's gonna do it for them. And Finn goes up to him and he's like, be careful, Poe. And he's like, don't worry, I will be. And they share a bit of a moment. So then they race, and it's exciting. I assume it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren tries spinning at one point because that's a good trick, but ultimately Poe wins because he's the greatest pilot in the galaxy. He uses his spaceship drifting abilities to like drift the pod
drifts
race.
the pod
And he
racer.
can drift like he does. There's like a part where there's like a really short canyon and he can't pass Kylo Ren, so he drifts like around on the edge of like the cliff, the walls.
So he's like he's driving on the wall.
Yeah, but it's like it's like spaceship drifting around. and he passes him, and he wins, and then they all celebrate. Kylo's like, I guess I'm good now. And so he just joins their team.
Is that his arc?
Yeah, that's his arc.
That's terrible.
It gets better though. Also, like when they're all celebrating, Poe runs up to Finn and gives him a hug, and Poe gives him a little kiss, a little kiss on the lips. And Finn's like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, sorry, I just got caught up in the moment," and that comes back later. So then, but it's not over yet because Hux went to find Snoke. Snoke is alive in my version because the one that got killed was actually just his
Was his body double?
was his body double, and the real Snoke isn't even a regular sized person. In fact, when we saw the
Yeah.
hologram in episode 7, and he was like a giant guy.
Yeah.
That's his real size. So Hux goes and gets him, and he's like, "Oh, Kylo Ren turned good. All right, well, I gotta go kill him then. Bring the Empire. Bring all of the Empire." So all the Empire, all the Star Destroyers, and giant Snoke come to Tatooine, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna get you." And Snoke also has a wrist-mounted laser cannon that's miniaturized Death Star tech. And on the way there, he aims and shoots it at Tatooine, but he's not a very good shot. So
he misses and hits like Hoth or
no,
something.
he misses and he hits Canto Bight. And so Canto Bight's gone. We see there's a shot of Broom Kid, and he's playing with his broom, and then he looks up, and there's just a laser, and then you see like briefly his skeleton like hangs up, and then the planet's just gone. And so Broom Kid's dead. Canto Bight's gone. And then they're like, oh, and then he's like, oh, I guess I'm out of ammo on my miniaturized Death Star deck, so I guess I gotta go down to Tatooine and finish this myself. Also, at one point during this,
He only has one shot.
yeah, he only had one shot.
He only have, it's like it ejects like a bullet.
Yeah,
a bullet
yeah.
casing.
And he ran out. Like he doesn't have any more.
Oh, that's what the kyber crystals were for. Of course.
Yeah, no, that's coming still.
there's another weapon.
No, that wasn't the weapon.
Oh god.
I'm almost done here.
Okay.
So
Not to hurry up.
yeah.
You don't have to hurry up at all.
Okay.
Just pace yourself.
Yeah. So also during the sequence, like probably when Snoke lands, he accidentally steps on Hux.
He's just like, shit.
Whoops. So Hux is dead. Oops. He's gone now.
That's a pretty big whoops.
So they're like, oh shit, how are we gonna stop giant Snoke? And Kylo Ren's like, don't worry, I have a plan. And he goes to one of his stormtroopers.
Wait, I have a thought.
Yeah.
Do they use the snow speeders from Empire and like go around his legs?
No, that would
Have
be...
you guys seen that really new movie, Civil War?
Because I just thought of that.
You know the part where they're at the
That's
airport?
how they stop it.
That would
They're
make
at
sense.
the airport with the giant guy?
Yeah, see, no, that would be the perfect solution.
Right.
But I thought that I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go even dumber.
Okay.
So Kylo Ren's like, don't worry, guys, I have a plan. And then he goes to one of his stormtroopers. He's like, is the weapon ready? And they're like, yes. And he's like, okay, send it in. And then it's a Power Rangers Zord sequence where they mix the Zord, and it combines all of your favorite Star Wars ships, the Millennium Falcon, Kylo Ren's.
This is the bad guy's weapon.
Yeah.
Do they have a giant magnet that just grabs the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, it's like he basically like Kylo Ren built like the
blueprints.
Mostly he built like the cockpit area, which is like a giant version of his mask, and like that's where you pilot it. And that's like the head of the Zord, and then the rest of the Zord is just like attached by all your favorite ships from Star Wars. So the Millennium Falcon is like the body probably. Kylo Ren's TIE Fighter is one of the arms. Luke's X-wing shows up from remember what was crashed on the planet, on the water island planet, on the Port planet. Yeah, so it comes.
Yeah.
It comes back somehow. I guess he just because the button, it just magnetized all of your favorite ships.
Right.
Anakin's pod racer is like one of the legs probably, and then like I'm not 100% on this idea. Like you could take it or leave it, but I was thinking Slave One shows up and it's Phasma piloting it, but I don't know if we really want to kill off Phasma again. So
maybe she turns good too.
Maybe she also turns good. She's just
that bit where we see her eye. It's like maybe that's her humanity. You know?
Yeah, and so now she's good or something. I don't know. Anyways, there's this giant Zord.
They have the biggest and dumbest.
Yeah, and so then Kylo Ren's like, okay, you know Pacific Rim where you need like 2 people to pilot it. It's like that, and you have to be like in sync and stuff.
Is this the good guy's weapon?
Yeah, this is the good guy's weapon. And Ray, and so he's like, "Come with me, Ray. We got to do this together." So they both go into the thing, and you know, like in Pacific Rim, when him and the Asian chick are like, "Oh, we're so in sync at fighting. That means
drift compatible."
We are drift compatible.
Yeah, they're drift compatible.
Is it because of the scene from Episode 8
where they fight together, and so because of that, we know that they're drift compatible, and so. Yeah, so they pilot it, and it's basically like the Pacific Rim thing where like you move and the thing moves, but also there's like a slot and you plug your lightsaber into it, and then the ship's the Zord's lightsaber powers up, like, and it has a giant Kylo Ren lightsaber and a giant double-headed lightsaber on the others on its other hand. And so then they have to fight Snoke, who's a giant, and he also has a giant lightsaber. And I was trying to figure out what to do with Poe and Finn during this part because they needed to.
They should just be like making out or something.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe they just go off and get married, but that happens later. So instead, I realized, oh right, this is still the Empire. We have to destroy all of the Empire somehow. So you know how in Avatar at the end when they have all the airships, and Sokka and Toph and Suki go and they airship slice.
Airship slice!
And they drive the one airship into all the other ones and they destroy all of them. So that's what Poe and Finn do. Right. They just airship slice all the Star Destroyers.
With the Star Destroyer.
With one of the Star Destroyers. So yeah, they sneak onto one of it, they do like hey, attention crew, this is your captain.
It's just straight out of Avatar.
It's exactly what happens in Avatar for Sokka. It's exactly that whole arc.
Okay.
But with Poe and Finn. And they like bond during that adventure. And they destroy all of the Empire. So we don't have to worry about that.
They're all gone.
Yeah. So then the Kylo Ren and Rey Zord fight giant Snoke in an epic lightsaber battle. The biggest, dumbest lightsaber battle you've ever seen. and they beat him. And they win because of friendship or something.
And then the movie's just over.
Yeah, so then it's basically over. And then the final scene is Poe and Finn's wedding, and it's set to the from the end of episode 4.
Okay.
It's that exact song, but it's for Poe and Finn's wedding.
Right.
And you know how like in that scene, so they get married and they're happy. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful wedding. And
BB-8 is the ring bearer?
Yeah, BB-8's the ring bearer.
He's got like a little cushion on his head.
And you know how, and it's sort of a mixture between the end scene from episode 4 and Sam's wedding in Lord of the Rings. Because like there's a part where they throw the bouquet and like Rey catches it and then she like gives a look at Kylo Ren and it's like basically the same look from when like Han like gives like Leia a wink at the end of episode 4. Right. So they're just like leaving the door open for that relationship.
Right. All right.
And then it's over and that's the end of the movie.
That's amazing.
Credits. Roll the credits.
That's incredible.
That's so good.
Okay.
Any feedback would be appreciated, or just whatever you can say.
I don't know. That sounds pretty much perfect.
No, that's amazing, and it's sad that it will never happen. And my movie is infinitely stupider, but infinitely more likely. I think. I like to think it's more likely.
I mean, I came up with a lot of really dumb ideas. I like to.
No, but like that's what makes them so great, though.
Anyways, that's my movie.
That's pretty good.
That's amazing.
I'm trying to think of any questions about it. So wait, so Kylo Ren was getting the kyber crystals from him for mech suit.
For his giant.
So
mech
he
suit.
when he defected from the First Order, he stole that.
Yeah.
That huge mech suit.
No, he was building it.
Like right under their noses. It's pretty big.
Well, he's in charge now, right? So he can just do
I
that.
guess so.
And like the only ones that weren't in charge, that weren't listening to him, was Hux and a real Snoke, who was just like hiding in a cave somewhere.
All right.
And he wasn't really paying attention, I guess.
So who got sliced in half then? Was that like a?
It was like he had like a body double clone.
Was it an astral projection?
Oh yeah. No. I think it was like he was like it was like a temp.
A small clone.
A temp small clone in case like he needed to be small for like some meetings, like because you know he can. He can like beam him. He can project himself, but sometimes the room that they have the meetings in is just too small for the huge ass projection. So he has to like walk into it like a normal.
No,
guy.
they couldn't build a Star Destroyer big enough for him to sit on.
Yeah, and that's why he like kind of sucked at the Force because like why he didn't see like Kylo Ren was gonna cut him in half because it wasn't the real Snoke. The real Snoke is giant, and that's why.
All right, no, Snoke's just dead in mine. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
He's just gone.
That's the only thing I like. I was only because I wanted to have the giant mech suit battle that I wanted back. Otherwise, I would have kept him dead.
He comes back in mine. It's so dumb.
All right.
All right.
Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe I should go because mine's not really fully fleshed
Yeah,
out. It's just
okay.
some
All right,
random
all right.
ideas. Okay, so how it's gonna start basically is because everyone hated Canto Bight. This is basically if like everyone at Disney was like, okay, we listened to everyone's problems with the movie, so we're just gonna get rid of it all. But also do some dumb stuff.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, we're gonna just the first order is like, we're gonna chase after the rest of the rebellion, but first we're gonna make a stop in Canto Bight. So
That's what they say.
They invade Canto Bight, partially because Kylo knows that there's a Jedi there,
Right.
and he wants to like. So they recreate the scene from Revenge of the Sith where he kills the younglings. So he finds Broom Kid, and then
And all his Broom Kid
yeah,
friends.
and then he murders them.
Is it on screen?
yeah,
Is
do
it
we get to
graphic?
see
Oh no, it's like in Revenge of the Sith where he just turns his lightsaber
Oh,
on,
and then it cuts away?
Yeah, and then
Oh,
they
okay.
just destroy Canto Bight. They just blow it up.
That's
Okay, so
awesome.
then they go back to chasing after the rebellion,
Right.
right? And then they get like the rebellion's like, oh, let's lose them in an asteroid field because that works. and so Kylo Ren's like, okay, I know what we have to do. There's this big asteroid right here. We have to drill through it with a Star Destroyer.
Oh boy.
So and they're like, how are you going to do that? And it's like, we're going to spin it. So they spin it fast enough.
That's a good trick.
They try spinning fast enough that they drill through the asteroids that are in their way.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that happens. But they also have other Star Destroyers.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So Leia comes up with some ideas to take them out. First one, she astral projects herself onto one of them. And then some guy's like, "Oh, it's Leia! Shoot her!" And then they all kill each other, and Hux gets killed in the crossfire.
Yes. That's amazing.
so that happens. And at some point, like Rey, it's like, I gotta go train to be a Jedi.
Right.
So she goes back to Acto. I think that's what the planet's called, and she
Right,
trains
right.
with all the Force ghosts because there's no one left to train with. So she has to. So that's happening, and then the other thing that Leia does is she does flying again, and she flies at light speed through one of the Star Destroyers.
Is that how you kill off Leia?
And then she also dies.
She just does it, and then afterwards she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm dead now."
Does she become a Force ghost and then start training Rey on?
Sure, yeah, sounds good. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's like a good idea.
She teaches her how to fly through space.
Okay, so I have a general idea of what the third act is going to look like.
Okay.
So Snoke is going to come back with the Emperor, and they're going to team up. And Snoke is going to have lightsabers for legs.
So it's his original body.
No, like that guy that got chopped in half was him, but he has lightsabers for legs now.
How is the Emperor back?
Oh, he's just back. And Yoda is back too. And so that's one part where he's fighting them. That's one of the
fights.
One of the fights.
Wait,
that's happening.
is Yoda Force Ghost Yoda?
No, he's just back.
He's still alive.
That's how they explained the lightning thing, is that he was actually still alive. Because I saw an article where someone was like, "Is Yoda still alive? How could his Force Ghost use lightning if he's just a Force Ghost? How could that happen? Is he really alive?"
And he did hit Luke with his cane a couple times.
Yeah.
So that would explain that too.
Yeah, that too. So he's just alive.
He was using the Force to make himself look like a ghost.
Yeah, but he's actually
alive.
Okay, so we find out who Rey's real parents are.
All right.
And
Oh no.
get this, she's Anakin and Padme's third child. And she's been stuck in suspended animation for like 30 years. And she doesn't remember any of it.
So she's like Luke's brother
Yeah.
or Luke's sister.
Luke's sister.
whatever.
Yeah.
But she's
perfect.
Like, and she's like 30 years younger than him.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
super weird.
because she's been stuck in suspended animation.
So did they like?
So
Did Obi-Wan and Yoda like they knew about her, and so they're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I guess so. Yeah,
You gotta like sneak her off.
yeah, pretty much.
In suspended
Wait,
animation.
Kylo's
I
her
guess-
nephew.
Yeah.
It's the Jon Snow twist.
Do they get together?
No. So
That's
Kylo
fine.
takes over Vader's castle on Mustafar, and that's where Rey and Kylo fight at the end on Mustafar again.
All right,
Okay.
I like that.
All right.
Because that's how that's gonna go. Oh, Phasma's gonna come back too, and her and Vader are gonna have another fight. And Poe's just gonna like take out some Star Destroyers and stuff. And that's all I have.
Beautiful, I love it.
That's amazing.
So basically, just some really dumb ideas.
No, I could see,
see a lot of those
one
happening.
to
Some of them
all of
actually-
those things happening.
Yeah.
So
It's
Okay.
8 pages long right now.
All right.
But keep in mind,
mine was 2 pages.
keep in mind the
so-
first 5 pages is just the first act, and I've written like crappy dialogue for the whole thing.
Okay, this
So
is great.
So it's.
I'm excited.
I wrote this at like from like between 12 and 3 a.m. last night, so it's not good. It's and there's moments that are like I'm trying to make the dialogue good, but it's just not. Like it's just not a good movie.
Okay. Do you need
Okay.
anyone to like play characters, or are you just gonna do? All
I'm gonna do all of it myself.
Sounds
It's
good.
gonna be more like just me kind of explaining the general idea.
Love
So here we go. This is the opening crawl. Star Wars Episode 9, the final chapter, Part 1. Keep in mind, there's no Part 2. This is gonna play later at all. It's just the final chapter, Part 1, in case they want to make more movies. So that episode 10 can be called the final chapter, Part 2. Okay, so this is the words of the opening crawl so far. This is a very rough cut of the words for the opening crawl. It's definitely going to be fleshed out more in the future, but this is the general idea, which is, it's been a couple months since the last movie. After the rebels got away, the bad guys have been looking for them, and they've been doing a pretty shit job. The Millennium Falcon managed to escape the light speed tracking after Luke distracted the bad guys and ran out of force juice.
They're just recapping.
Yeah, and then it says, Kylo Ren is still bent on taking over the galaxy, but then killing everyone right after. Our small band of heroes are the only ones that can stop him, probably. Alright, so we Act 1.
Alright.
We see some stars,
Yep.
and then pan down to a space construction site. And we see the framework for an incomplete battle station. Now, I have some concept art for it, but you won't get to see it until later.
Okay.
I'm going to show it to you right after. So Kylo Ren's
alright.
watching this site from a Star Destroyer,
Yeah.
and Hux approaches him on the bridge, and he says, construction of the Super Death Star Killer Base 2 Deluxe Edition X is right on schedule. Kylo Ren says, perfect. If we kill everyone in the galaxy, then there's no way the rebels can survive, because everyone will be dead.
I like this plan.
And then Hux says, perfect. We can crack open the entire galaxy like an egg. Nobody will stand in our way. And then they're just kind of looking at the Super Star Destroyer X. And I'd like to mention, I want you to keep in mind, I've got a picture of it, the actual original from MS Paint before I exported it as a PNG. So it's
Okay.
basically like, it's like an AT-AT. Like, well, it's like it's a Star Destroyer with AT-AT legs, but it has 5 Starkiller bases on it. So we'll put a picture of that on the screen. There's gonna be a scene in the movie when they're like, this is the Super Star Destroyer, whatever, X. And they're like, this was the Death Star, this was Starkiller base, and this is the new one. And it's gonna be this.
So I don't want to like question the design or anything.
No.
But like, does it have legs because it walks on?
No, it has legs because the force that launches from it when it fires these lasers is so powerful that it has to like attach itself to 4 separate planets just to keep it grounded, so that it doesn't like launch the other way
okay.
too
That
far.
makes
So
sense.
there's not too much kickback.
Right.
So that way the pull of So it's found so it's like around a galaxy where there's there's like 4
There's like
planets.
4. They're kind of.
They're kind of close, yeah. So they can lock in. All right. The movie hasn't even started yet.
This is good. This is great. So
Okay, so in the special features, JJ, this is a JJ Abrams film, by the way.
Oh,
JJ
right, yeah,
Abrams,
yeah.
he's gonna say, So I thought to myself, how do I do the Super Star Destroyer from Empire and the second Death Star from Return of the Jedi without doing the Super Star Destroyer from Empire and the second Death Star from Return of the Jedi? So I came up with this. That's what he's going to say. So then
Sounds good.
the next scene
That sounds accurate.
is it's the good guys and they're on like a rebel base on Haku. Now Haku is basically it's just Hoth, but it has a different name. So let me see. We see Rey, and she's riding on some sort of like four-legged creature, and she's like wearing like full snow gear, right?
Right.
And it has 4 legs instead of 2, making it 2 better than a tauntaun. It's actually called a florp. I haven't come with concept art for it yet, so just it's up to your
It's a
imagination.
tauntaun with 4
So
legs.
she
Got it.
so she peels off her face thing and she says, "I'm just finishing my circle. There are still no bad guys here." And then Poe says, "Great, head back to the base. We're all drinking space hot chocolate. Don't be out much longer, or your space hot chocolate will get cold." So then Rey kind of like laughs a little bit. She's like, all right, I'll be back soon. And she's like, okay. So in the special features, J.J. Abrams is going to say, my daughter loves regular hot chocolate, so I thought I would include space hot chocolate as a reference to that. Oh my god. So Rey's florp, it starts like freaking out.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What's the matter, boy?" See, it's clever because Luke was on a female tauntaun.
Right.
He says, "What's the matter, girl? You smell something?" But she says, because she's the protagonist, she's a female. She's riding a male florp.
Right.
So she says, "What's the matter, boy?" And then a wham bam comes out of nowhere. And it claws her in the florp, and she gets clawed in the stomach. And then she's like, "Oh!" and she's like in a lot of pain. And then she collapses to the ground. And before passing out, she sees Luke's Force Ghost.
Right, of
and he
course.
says, "Rey, sorry that I was a crappy teacher. You can find a better one if you go to Dagobah. It's the Force Ghost capital of the galaxy."
That's great.
Sorry, I feel like the dialogue it gets worse after this. Like it's not like funny good. It's just bad.
It's up to you.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep going with it. So then it cuts to Poe, and he's sitting out and he's looking on the snowy horizon,
Yeah.
and a CGI Leia approaches him, and then she says, "Couldn't you have picked a colder planet?" And then he says, "I wasn't sure if you'd warm up to it, but you have to admit the bad guys have a hard time finding you if you're on a really cold planet."
That was so accurate.
And then he says, "I hope she's okay out there." And then she says, "I can't argue with that. Boy, do I wish Han was here. I know we used to argue all the time, but that's only because we were so in love." "I can't help but think you've caught feelings for that girl out there." "What? No, I'm just worried because it's really cold. There isn't enough life on this ice cube to fill a space cruiser." And then Leia says, "There's the exact amount of life on this ice cube to fill a space cruiser. I need you to promise me that you'll do everything you can to protect that life. My time is almost up." And then he says, "No, don't say that. I need you for this rebellion." And then he says, and then she says, "Oh, you don't need me. You're ready for what's coming. No matter what, protect the people you love. Promise me you can do that." And then he's like, "I promise." And
This is Poe, right?
This is Poe talking to
Sorry.
Leia. This is Poe talking to Leia, yeah.
Cool.
And then Finn walks over and he's like, "Is Rey back yet?" And then he's like, "No, she's not." And then he's like, "Oh, well, we should go looking for her." And then Poe's like, "Relax. I'll go look for Rey. You stay here and make sure Rose is okay." And then he's like, "Okay, but don't be out too long." And then then Poe says, "Come on, BB-8, let's go find Rey." And BB-8 says, So then it cuts to Finn, and he's at Rose's bedside.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I've been better. How about you?" And then he's like, "Oh, I'm fine." And then he's like, "Oh, Poe's not looking for Rey though. I hope they're both okay." And then she's like kind of petty and like slightly offended by this because she like wants them all to herself kind of thing. That comes into play later.
Oh, good.
And then she's like, "I'm sure." And then she's like kind of pulls his attention back. She's like, "No, I'm sure they'll be fine. Let's play another round of space checkers." And then he says, "I can't believe you're not sick of space checkers yet." And then she says, "Nope. What are you gonna do? Climb into an escape pod?" And then he said, "Oh, is that a challenge?" And then she says, yeah. And then he's like, you want to go? And then she's like, mm-hmm. And then he says, well, let's go. And then he goes and gets the space checker set. So then BB-8 and Poe, they're outside on the floor, and they're looking for Ray.
They're both on the floor.
They're both, yeah, there's like a little pouch for BB-8 to sit in. So,
Like,
so BB-8 goes, and then Poe's like, you're cold.
That's a joke.
That's a joke. Yeah, there's a laugh track. There's lots of laugh tracks in this movie. Well, there at least should be.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Ray, are you out there? Ray. And then they come across Ray and her floor, and then he's like, Ray, are you okay? And then she's like, Luke, Dagobah. And then he's like, all right, settle down there. Yeah, you're gonna be just fine. Isn't that right, BB-8? And then BB-8 goes, and then he's like, well, not with that attitude. and then he grabs her lightsaber, and then he's like, damn, how do I work this thing? And then he turns on, and a green lightsaber blade extends out, right?
Yeah.
And then he cuts open both of their floors because they both die from the cold. So then,
wait, is it a double-ended?
no, it's just the single. It's the single blade. Yeah.
For a second, I thought you were gonna say he turns it on and he accidentally stabs.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He's like, wow, that was harder than I thought it would be. Ray, you always made it look so easy. And then BB-8 goes, blah, 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 blah. And then he says, what do you mean it was easy for Finn? All right, let's get some rest. So the next morning they come back to the base, and Finn's like, oh, you guys, I'm so glad you're okay. And then BB-8's like, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, oh, I couldn't forget about you, BB-8. And then like pets him like a dog. And then Rose like looks over at this happy reunion. She's like, oh, I hate those guys, kind of thing. Like she's like doing that thing where you peek behind a corner, and then she kind of like peels back, and then Finn's like, that was kind of creepy. So he's like, I'll catch up with you guys later. I'm gonna go see if she's okay, right? Yeah. So then he's talking to her, and then they're like kind of walking in the hallway like an Empire. Right. And he's like, hey, what's going on? She's like, oh, you won't understand. And then he's like, oh, but you're not talking to me. What's going on? She's like, oh, you really don't get it, do you? And then he's like still confused. She's like, oh, we had like a kiss and stuff. That was important, and now you're just thinking about someone else. That's all you're doing. You're the worst. And then he's like, hey, I'm not the worst. And then she's like, don't even talk to me. And then she slams the door. So then it cuts back to Ray in her room, and so Ray has like a shirtless scene. Oh yeah, she's got like bandages on though, on like her breasts, right? Oh, okay. So it's not like topless, but like it's like shirtless to the extent that you can do your hero or your hero.
As shirtless
as she could be, yeah, right. So she takes off her shirt and she's got like some like scars across her chest. Like her belly, she's got some like cuts now from the wham bam, yeah. And then and she kind of touches it, and when she touches it, she like kind of remembers Kylo Ren talking, and he's like, I feel it too, join me. And she's like, oh no, I have scars now like him, so I'm gonna be bad or whatever. That's how that works. She's like, oh no, I feel like I'm gonna be bad. And then Poe walks in the room, and he's like, oh shit, sorry. And he puts up his hand. He's like, I didn't knock. Who doesn't knock? What was I thinking? And then Ryan's just like, Poe. And then he's like, no, don't worry. I'm great at forgetting everything. Things I see. I'm blocking these memories out of my mind as we speak. And then he's like, and then she's just like, Poe. And then he's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, it's fine. You can come in. He's like, I don't care. And then he's like, okay, and he walks forward, but he's still got his hand over his eyes.
He's polite.
Because he's polite, yeah. And then she's like, and you can put your hand down. And then he's like, oh, okay. And then he puts his hand down, and he's like, whoa, for like 5 seconds, kind of thing. And then she's like, oh, what do you want to ask me? Why are you in here? And then he's like, oh, how you doing? And then she's like, oh, I'm good. And she like looks at her stitches. She's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna be fine. And then he's like, well, you've been through a lot in like the last 2 movies. I just want to make sure you're okay. And then. If you ever want to talk to me, like, I'm here, kind of thing. And then she's like, oh, it's like, what, how do you do that? And then he's like, do what? She's like, oh, you just kind of like, you dive head first into every problem you see, you don't really ask for anything in return. And then he says, I guess I just don't know when to quit. No matter what they take from us, I won't give up until the first order is stopped. And then they look at each other a little, like, kind of longingly, and then an alarm goes off. It's like, whoop, whoop. And then Finn walks in the room and he says, it's the first order. They found us. Awesome. And then he gets up and walks to the doorway, and then he looks back at Ray and he says, "Take what you need. We're getting out of here." so then he's walking with Finn in the hallway. Finn and Poe, they're walking in the hallway. Yeah. And he's like, "How could they possibly found us? They weren't tracking us when we made our escape from Crate." And Finn says, "Well, they're here now. They must have had a nearby scout ship." And then Poe says, "Well, it doesn't matter how they got here. We're getting out of here, and this time will be different." It's important. Okay. So all the characters are like frantically packing things into like the Millennium Falcon and like the 2 X-wings they've acquired since the last movie.
So they have X-wings.
They have like 2 X-wings.
Gotcha.
That's their entire fleet. They only need 2. So then you see a couple low-flying Star Destroyers on the horizon because
Right, yeah.
They did AT-ATs in the last movie, and we can't do them again.
Yeah,
So then,
okay.
so then Hux is on the bridge of a Super Star Destroyer from space, and he's looking at this, and he says, "Finally, they won't get away this time." And then we get back to the base, and they're all packing, and then Leia's standing, and she's just looking at this, and she's not packing or anything. She's just looking at this, and Rey says, "Leia, we have to go. Come on." And then she says, "Don't worry about me. One day I'll see you again." and then she stays behind. All the ships leave, and then she uses the Force to make herself fly at light speed. So she just kind of floats out on the battlefield, right? And then she flies at light speed and cuts all the Star Destroyers, and she's just gone. And then they see them all destroyed, and kind of through the window of the Falcon. They're like, "Oh no, Leia's gone." So then Hux is on the bridge of the Star Destroyer. He says, "Track them through light speed." And then a random grunt. He's like, "Oh, we lost them." And he's like, "What do you mean we've lost them?" He says, "There's no reading, sir. They're gone." And then Kylo enters the room and he's like, "Not for long." And then, so this is Act 2. This is break into 2.
All right.
So then Poe is like, and so Finn's like, "Wait, how did we get away?" And then Poe's like, "This time we're smart. Between this film and the last one, we've built an anti-light speed tracking beacon." And we've surrounded our fleet with it, so they won't be able to track us through light speed if they want to find us. And they're like, "Great." And then Rey's like, "Oh, I need to go to Dagobah so I can learn the Force." And then R2-D2's like, "Boo-boo-boo." And then she's like, "You've been to Dagobah?" And then he's like, "Boo-boo-boo." So then they go to Dagobah. This is when it gets. I don't have dialogue for this part.
Okay.
This Act 2 and 3 don't have as much dialogue because they're more in the idea phase. I haven't gotten
Right,
into,
you haven't
like,
got to the...
I haven't gotten into the
all the
nitty
character
gritty. No, I haven't gotten
development.
all the
Yeah.
character development yet. So then, Luke Force Ghost shows up and he's like, "Oh, you need to stop Kylo Ren," or whatever. And then Yoda's Force goes up and then he's like, "You should redeem him and then you'll be a Jedi." And then the Force Ghost of every dead Jedi ever shows up at the same time, prequels included. Anakin shows up and she's all like, "Wait, you were Darth Vader?" And then he's like, "Yeah, but I'm good now. Nobody's really gone." And then she's like, "Okay, cool." So then they're just kind of hanging out on Dagobah, guys. So then it cuts back to the bad guys, and
Right.
Hux is like, "The weapon is even closer to being completed than before." And then Kylo Ren's like, "All right, cool. In the meantime, I'll dispatch the Knights of Ren."
All right.
So then the Knights of Ren show up on Dagobah. And then they all get into a big dumb fight with the Knights of Ren. So, and there's even like a BB-8 Knight of Ren.
Is it the black BB-8?
Sure, why not?
What,
That one's called BB-9E.
Yeah, is it that one?
Yeah, it's that. Sure. So then they all get someone that they get to fight, right? And then Finn has like a stick fight with one of them. He's got like an electric stick.
Right. Yeah.
He's got some.
He still has that.
He still
for
has.
some
Yeah.
reason.
So they all fight a Knight of Ren, and Finn Poe kind of plays like point guard. So he's in like an X-wing, and he's kind of like shooting them, making passes and stuff because he's not good at hand to hand. So
Right.
he just kind of plays point guard, and then after the fight. And we get to see Rey, and she has her lightsaber, but then it's a double-ended lightsaber.
Oh, now it's a
revealed
double-
that it's a double. It's
Okay.
it's the Darth Maul twist,
Right,
but
yeah.
it's stupid. So then she fights a guy with a double-ended lightsaber, and then so after the fight, Finn says, "Wow, I'm getting good at fighting bad guys with a stick." And then Poe says, "But how do they keep finding us?" And then he says, "I don't know." And then it just says, "But we have to." But I have nothing written after that. So I mean, but we have to stop them, is what I'm guessing. So like, all right. So what they do is from Dagobah, they scan the schematic of the new Super Death Star Killer Base 2 Deluxe Edition X.
Right.
They're like, with long range scanners, we can figure out the schematic of the ship. So then they're dispatched on 2 separate missions. So Poe,
Right, of course.
Finn, BB-8, Rose, and Chewbacca. They all go on
Oh, right,
to
Rose is still there.
yeah, they all go on to the one ship. It's probably the Millennium Falcon, but it doesn't matter. And they all somehow get onto the bad guy ship and Poe's. No, that's it. So they're actually never mind. They're all in the Millennium Falcon to start with. Everyone's in the Millennium Falcon. I'll tell you about the teams later.
Okay,
So and Poe's the only one that can make the approach because he's such a good pilot.
Yeah.
He says something like, "I'm the only one that can do it because I'm a good pilot," or something like that. So then it splits off into 2 teams where it's Finn, Poe, Chewbacca, Rose and BB-8, and then Rey's with R2-D2 and C-3PO. And she's like, I'm gonna find Kylo, and they're like, all right, we're gonna stop the thing, because when they run the schematic of it, they find that there's like a switch in the middle of it that if you pull it down, the whole thing just shuts down. It's like a self-destruct button. It's the button. It's basically it's that. Because we always there's always a way to blow it up, right? So
does it blow it up or just turn it off?
No, you'll see.
Oh, okay.
So then he says, "Oh yeah, so I've written. I'll make the approach. They won't detect me because I'm such a good pilot." And then he says, "But then this is the part where they're figuring out who they need to take." And Finn says, But where will you go once you go on? I used to clean the toilets or something. I know my way around a bad guy's ship." So it's the team of Finn, Poe, Chewbacca, and Rose, and they're snooping around the bad guy ship, and they find the door where the switch is. Like, all right, it's just right here, and then they get captured by the bad guys. So then Kylo's got them all strapped to chairs or whatever, and Kylo Ren, and then they're like, "Oh no, we've been captured again." And then Kylo says, "Why do you think it was so easy for us to keep finding you?" And then Rose's handcuffs go off.
Oh, is she a traitor?
And she's a traitor. And she says, and then Finn's like, "Rose, how could you do this?" And then Rose says, "You broke my heart, Finn, so now I'm a bad guy."
Yes! That's amazing.
That's so good.
So then I think...
Wait,
I'm sorry.
okay, I have a question. So does that mean that she was a spy the whole time?
No, it means that after Finn was like, "Oh, I like people better than you because I've been hanging out with them longer." After she feels betrayed, she tells the bad guys where they are.
Okay,
Gotcha.
So that doesn't explain how they've been tracking them through Lightspeed, though?
No, they stop the Lightspeed tracking. They can't track them through because after The Last Jedi, they don't actually track them through Lightspeed because Luke was distracting them for so long that they fell out of the range of the Lightspeed tracking.
Right.
Also, all their fleet was like destroyed.
Yeah,
because that was my other thought. Oh, maybe they had a traitor the whole time.
No, they didn't have a traitor the whole time.
I know that was just a thing that because Poe is smart, he told his engineers to start working on an anti-Lightspeed tracking beacon, and it worked.
Right. So now it's like, well, they can't be through.
They can't possibly be tracking us through Lightspeed, but they're finding us. They're finding us somehow. Yeah, they're still finding us, right?
Oh, that's okay. That's so.
So then Kylo says, "Now we will test the might of the weapon by blowing up 25 planets from the outer rim, including Kashyyyk and Zendar." And then Zendar.
Oh no, this is different.
This is a different. It's spelled with a Z. And then Chewbacca goes, because Kashyyyk is his home planet.
Yeah.
And then Poe says, "Zendar, that's where my parents' house is." So then Kylo says, "You may fire when ready," and then they blow up like 25 planets. And it's stupid, and it's a spectacle.
Do you know?
But they don't blow up Dagobah because they're just stupid. They're not smart. They just forgot to because they're not. Because they're so overconfident that they're like, "We're gonna make them." This is the line I have. He says, So they blow up the planets, and then afterwards the grunt says, some rando says, "The weapon needs some time to recharge," and then he says, "Good. Now that their families are dead, they can watch their friends die, and then everyone will be dead. And when everyone's dead, the galaxy will be saved." And then Kylo leaves the room. So that's my break. So that's my break into 3. That's the Dark Night of the Soul. That's the lowest point of the second act.
Amazing. Do you know any of all of the 25 planets?
I've got. There's like Kashyyyk, Zendar. I was thinking like throwing like Mustafar and whatever. Just some outer rim garbage, Utapau, just whatever.
Some prequel planets you forgot about.
Like it'll just be like they'll be in like a room and there'll be monitors all around.
Yeah. So like if you pause it,
and you'll see all. You'll do pause. You'll be like, "Oh, that's Camino," or whatever.
Yeah.
You'll see all the planets blow up simultaneously.
I'm assuming Tatooine as well.
No, not Tatooine.
Not Tatooine.
I need Tatooine. Tatooine's in the climax.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
It's not. Don't you worry. So then they're in the thing and they're like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do?" And then Finn says, he looks over to Chewie and he says, "Chewie, I used to make handcuff chairs for the First Order." He says, "If you pull hard enough on the one spot, it'll come right off." So then Chewie breaks out of the handcuffs. He breaks them all out of the handcuffs. And then Poe says, "All right, guys, let's find that switch." And then he shares a bit of a moment with Finn. And they're like, "Oh, we're attractive or whatever." And then Hux sees this on the monitor and he's like, "They escaped the room." And then Kylo's like, "No matter, they are no threat to us. The rebellion will be destroyed momentarily." And then Hux notices Rey on another monitor, but because she's been sneaky, he doesn't notice her until now. And then he's like, the girl is with them. And then Kylo's like, what? And then he sees Rey on the monitor. He goes, what? Like that, right? So then they see Rey on the monitor. And then Kylo says, how long until the weapon's charged? And then Hux says, the weapon is... I can't even talk. He says, the weapon is 5 times as powerful as the last one, so it takes 5 times longer to charge. We have to suck up 5 suns to get an operational again. So then Kylo says, fine, I'll find them myself, and he leaves the room. So then, after some antics, they find the switch box, and they open it up, and there's a flyer inside that says, you've been bamboozled. So there is no switch. That's a joke.
That's amazing.
There's no switch, and then Kylo says, "Aha! You thought." So he shows up. He's right behind them, and he says, "Aha! You thought we'd be foolish enough to have a self-destruct button. This vessel doesn't have an easy failsafe. There's no way you'll be able to defeat us. Now you will die." he starts force choking them, but then Rey shows up and she like forces him out of the way, and then she says, "Every word of what you just said was wrong," because it's a callback. So they have like a bit of like a kind of like a dumb force lightsaber bit of a fight there. Okay. It's not like that.
Is it like Count Dooku and Yoda in Attack of the Clones?
No,
they throw rocks at each other.
They just kind of throw each other around. They kind of throw. They pull out their lightsabers a little bit. And they're like, oh, so then while watching this, Poe's like, we gotta find a way out of there, out of here. And then, like, look over there, and they see a TIE fighter parked in a bay, but then there's a bunch of guys blocking it, right? But then Chewbacca, he lets out a battle cry. They start killing guys left and right. He's pulling their arms off. He's shooting up the place, and Chewbacca, he ends up getting killed because he gets shot, so Chewbacca dies in this process. But he gives his life so that Poe, Finn, and BB-8 can escape in this TIE fighter. So then Poe's like, get to the gunner's seat, Finn, and then he's like, oh, because he got injured from something earlier. and then Finn's like, settle down, I'm driving this time, and it's like a callback to like the first time they met or whatever.
So Finn is now also a great pilot.
He's now also a great pilot.
Okay,
so then they fly the TIE fighter thing through the ship, so they can like get to like, so they're kind of like, and they kind of crash near the tip of the destroyer, and then like Rey and Kylo's fight somehow gets there as well. It just, they're all in the same, they're all in the same place, right? Yeah. So then they're like, oh no, what are we gonna do? And then Poe's like, BB-8 now, and then he shoots a laser from his eye and spins around and cuts off the tip of the Star Destroyer. And then as Rey and Kylo are using the Force against each other, so then they're like flying in this tip of a Star Destroyer away, and they're and while Rey and Kylo are both trying to seal in the vacuum of space with the Force, and they kind of have like that look where they're just kind of like, we don't like each other or something, right? Yeah. So then, this is the part where I have the least notes. So it's gonna be mostly from my brain from here on out.
Great.
So then they get back to the Millennium Falcon and they see this big weapon and it's about to fire on Dagobah. So what they do is they get the Millennium Falcon and they idle it nearby Dagobah so that they don't die when they're on it. So all the guys are safe in the Falcon, but Rey is just looking out. She's like, I don't know what we're gonna do. And then Luke's Force Ghost shows up and he says, remember moving rocks? And then they pan over to Dagobah. and then Rey looks back at Luke and she's like, the entire planet? Yoda says, only big in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned. So then they fire the laser at Dagobah, and they're like, fire the laser, and then it fires, and then Dagobah's not there. It's like, it's like, oh, the planet's gone. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, we missed. It's like, well, we didn't destroy it. What did happen to it? And Dagobah's heading for the ship. So she's using the Force to throw Dagobah into the massive ship. So then Dagobah crashes into the Star. I was debating about whether or not it was going to be at light speed, but I think it should just be regular because that's stupid enough already. So then it crashes into the Super Star Destroyer, and then it like blows up or whatever, and they're like, oh, Rey, you did it, we done it, we stopped the bad guys, right? But Kylo Ren, he gets away, he gets off the ship, everyone else dies, but Kylo Ren survives this.
Because he was in the tip of the ship.
Yeah, he was in the. No, he wasn't. But he finds a ship and he leaves somehow. Okay. He escapes because he's the Force. All
right. Okay.
But Hux is dead. All the bad guys are dead. Rose blows up. They're all gone.
Right. Yeah. Rose is dead.
Rose is dead. Yeah. Okay. I'm debating whether or not Chewbacca kills Rose in his rage. I think he should.
Yeah, I think
he rips off her arms and then kicks her head off or something ridiculous like that. Yeah. So then they're like, oh, we did it. But then Kylo Ren, he's approaching, right? So then. I don't know how it happens, but it ends up that they're on Tatooine, and then Kylo and Rey have like like a lightsaber fight or whatever. And during this fight, they're both kind of like pulling each other from the dark side. Like Kylo's trying to pull her to the dark side, and she's trying to push her to the light side, and she eventually does the like Luke thing where she like kind of like she's like, oh, I don't want to fight you basically the entire time, right? And then he's like, oh, you're dumb. I took everything from you. You're like terrible. Why are you like good and stuff? And then she says something clever that changes his mind about being bad or whatever.
Okay.
And then I don't have a wedding with Finn and Poe, but they're just together at the end. And Rey's cool with that. It's not as good as your wedding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that my movie isn't as ridiculous as yours.
No,
but anyways, but anyways,
Wow.
so then they go, and the good guys, they're all having like a bash or whatever on whatever planets are left. One of the remaining planets. Canto Bight isn't blown up. It's important. So then Kylo's like, oh, maybe I'll be good or something, and then he's kind of vague about it, and then he leaves. And then Finn and Poe are like, oh, how do you know that he's going to be good? And then she's like, oh, I got a hunch. I feel like he's going to be a good guy. So then there's like some speech about good always beats evil or something. Rey is saying this, I guess, and it's over top of. It's kind of like the end of Civil War. But we cut back to Canto Bight and we see all the slave guys are like dead, like they're like brutally, they're all sliced up and stuff. And then we see the tip of a blue lightsaber, and we see the kids, like the broom kids and stuff. They look up, they're like, oh shit, and they see the tip of a blue lightsaber, and it's Kylo Ren with a blue crossguard lightsaber, and then he just sticks out his hand like that, and he's like, and then the movie ends.
All right. Okay, that was pretty good. I really liked yours, and you did a lot more like things that I feel like could actually happen, but like actually also used like some of the tropes in ways I wasn't expecting. Like that's such a good twist to have. The switch it's a lie. There's no way to blow it up. Like that's brilliant. I don't know why I didn't. Why have they never thought of that?
I thought it'd be funny.
It's so obvious. It's so obvious, but it's like that's so, and I love what you did with Rose too. Even though I wasn't even though like I would like in my I'm like I don't know what to do with her. Kill her off.
She's just gone right away.
She's gone right away.
I like that. I appreciated that.
That was actually a really clever way to do it.
I mean, I spend too much time on it. I'm like, I should be writing an actual script for school right now, but oh well. I'm doing this instead. I'm writing 6 pages of nonsense.
So, thanks for watching. If you made it all the way through or not.
It's like an hour-long video, probably.
Comment which one you like the most.
Which one you think is going to
happen. And if you have ideas for episode 9, leave them in the comments. Subscribe.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.